Meet Bradley Martyn, the gym owner turned YouTube powerhouse who turned raw workouts, loud confidence, and a merch line into a fitness empire. He built zoo culture and a huge online following while selling a no-nonsense brand of training and entrepreneurship. But then came public feuds with MMA stars, jaw-dropping stunts that made headlines, and reports of a secret scrap with Logan Paul that shook the gym community. In this video, we'll trace the rise, the silly moves, the viral moments, and the controversies that turned a fitness hero into a warning example. Stay tuned. It's bigger than flexing. It's about what happens when influence meets real-world consequences. Bradley Martyn's slide began with a throwaway question: who wins in a street fight? That turned into an oddly stubborn obsession.
You think you beat me in a street fight?
Huh?
You think you beat me in a street fight?
Even in a street fight,
I'd beat the out of you in a street
no,
fight.
I would kill you.
Okay. Rob, who wins in a street fight, me or you? That's why I could beat you in a street fight, basically, is what I was gonna say, right?
No, I grew up.
We don't have leverage to
But
pick him up.
125 pounds, though? That's so
To me,
light.
I know,
I can lift
dude.
it up with one hand.
I know.
At first, it was a cheeky bit, a 260-pound guy leaning into size for laughs, but as the gag repeated, it stopped landing. Fans sighed and critics noted the obvious: weight isn't skill. What read as bluster looked more like insecurity that needed constant proving. The shtick bled into real-life public sparring, petty confrontations, moments that felt staged or plain ugly, turning a joke into a credibility problem and cost him followers. There was a live incident with a member of FaZe Clan who grabbed his hat and got slapped. There was the sparring session with influencer Sneeko, which left Sneeko injured, and Bradley casually claiming he wasn't even going hard. Each event fed the narrative that the persona Bradley sold, the unshakable, larger-than-life alpha, could not be separated from a person chasing validation.
Yo, we need a post-fight interview, Brad.
Okay.
What?
Sit down.
Do you know what sparring means, Brad?
Bro, okay, let me explain this shit. I did not go hard on you.
What?
Bro, I did not That's go hard. cap. I did not go hard. You were trying to. I saw it on your face.
Big names chimed in. Logan Paul called Bradley lame, accusing him of staging drama for clicks. That was predictable, but a stranger episode blurred spectacle and cash. A meme coin developer visited Bradley's gym, grabbed his hat, and Bradley slapped him. The internet exploded, but this time the slap moved markets. The coin jumped over 2,000% almost instantly. Suddenly, Bradley's outburst was a trading signal. The guy who once taught hard lifts was now fueling market pumps. Toughness became fodder for speculators, memes, and headlines. Instead of respect for discipline, the moment generated short-term trading, viral mockery, and lasting reputational damage. There's a strange cruelty to that decline. Building a brand in fitness usually means offering value, workouts, tips, and honesty about struggle. Bradley's early work did that. The latter phase, however, saw a trading of substance for spectacle. Ego replaced craft. Conflict replaced teaching. The result was a messy, modern form of celebrity, visible, viral, and hollow. This is the story of a climb and a fall that didn't happen in dramatic, tragic steps, but in the slow drip of repeated choices. Each slap, each boast, each staged conflict added up. They didn't just change how people saw him, they rewired what people expected from him. Where followers once tuned in for routines and advice, many now tuned in for the next headline clip, the next moment primed to be clipped and reshared. Long before the street fight questions and viral slapfests, Bradley Martyn's story was the kind of origin most people in the lifting world recognized. Small-town beginnings, stubborn resolve, and an obsession that swelled until it filled every hour of the day. It wasn't about chasing followers or quick clout. It began as a personal project, a private promise to change how he looked and, more importantly, how he felt. At 15, he was skinny and restless, that particular mix of self-awareness and dissatisfaction that pushes teenagers to find a way out. Underneath that restlessness was a deeper wound. Bradley later shared that his father had been severely depressed and died by suicide when he was 6. "My father hung himself when I was 6, he said. That loss left him haunted by a question he replayed in his head. I used to think, if I'm like my father, am I going to end up like my father? He turned to the weight room for an answer. What started as awkward sets and copied routines slowly became steady, measurable gains that hardened into habit.
I used to think, genetically speaking, if I'm like my father, am I going to end up like my father? Like, am I going to be 36 and be like, I'm out.
For 10 years before any camera found him, Bradley lived around training, early alarms, strict meals, and the patient, ugly work bodybuilding demands. That routine not only rebuilt his body, it reshaped how he saw himself. When he launched his YouTube channel in summer 2014, he didn't arrive as a novice. He brought a decade of experience and a voice that sounded like a coach, not a salesperson. Early videos were plain and useful, garage-turned gym sessions, straightforward form tutorials, and blunt talk about eating enough to grow without getting sloppy. He broke progress into practical steps instead of hype. People subscribed because the lessons worked. Viewers wanted repeatable advice, not flashy before and after reels. Ambition followed craftsmanship. Bradley expanded beyond tutorials with raw gear, an apparel line that matched his no-nonsense message clothes for people who show up, not for people who post about showing up. Then came Zoo Culture, a warehouse-style gym in Los Angeles that quickly felt like more than machines and plates. It became a community where strangers became training partners and partners became a crew. These moves weren't flashy rebrands. They were logical extensions of the life he'd already built. That authenticity makes his later detours striking. The credibility he earned over a decade didn't vanish overnight. Rather, the persona slowly tilted toward showmanship. More sensational clips, staged moments, and attention-grabbing stunts. Still, those early years are the clearest lesson. True influence starts with repetition, honest work, and small corrections. Fame can bend priorities fast, but the habits and scars in those empty protein tubs remind us that real progress grows from daily practice. Those habits matter more than clicks and viral stunts every time. For a while, the formula worked. Bradley became the go-to expert for viewers, the guy whose channel felt like a gym you could visit by phone. He taught training, nutrition, and how to progress. Plain, useful stuff people wanted. But YouTube rewards attention, not necessarily skill. His podcast Raw Talk was supposed to deepen the work, yet it nudged him toward spectacle. Conversations tilted into confrontation. A recurring gimmick emerged. After polite chat with a professional fighter, Bradley would lean in and ask, "Who wins in a street fight, me or you?" The question was absurd, repeated too often. At first, the line felt like playful bravado, but it quickly became a tired bit he overused. He asked real pros, Nate Diaz on Raw Talk, Brendan Schaub, even Aljamain Sterling, always the same setup. A few minutes of chat, then the punchline, "I'm 260 pounds, bro." That stat isn't a substitute for mat time, timing, or fight IQ, and viewers noticed. The gag turned into the 260-pound joke, spreading in clipped memes. Instead of proving toughness, it started to read as insecurity and a manufactured routine meant to provoke and monetize for quick attention spikes, online buzz.
You could beat me at chess? You think you could beat me at chess? No, I never played before. I'm 260 though, brother. I grab hold of you, it's over. I love this guy.
Yo, you're funny, dude. Dude, yes, bro. And I actually really want to get back to that point that you were making earlier because it was actually interesting as fuck. Like, I always ask myself why people do the things that they do. What compels someone to act a certain way in a kind of like any given situation? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's actually interesting as fuck, bro. Okay, but serious question though. Do you think I could beat you in a street fight? Yeah, I love that, dude. Yo, but what if I grab you, bro? Damn. Yeah, I love that. Yo, we gotta fight later. We gotta fight. Yo, yeah, let's fucking do it, bro. Oh, shit. Fuck, that's dope.
You think you could beat me in a race? They call you the cheetah? Brother, I'm 260. If I get a hold of you, it's over. I love this guy, that's dope.
When a fellow celebrity stepped in, the criticism moved past anonymous comments and into the mainstream of influencer culture. Logan Paul publicly called Bradley lame, accusing him of courting controversy for clicks.
I gotta say something about Bradley.
Yep.
I think you're getting lame. I think you're getting lame as a person or a person who's either searching for clicks.
Start those beef.
That line stung because it flipped the script. This wasn't just online ribbing, it was a public rebuke from someone who lives off headlines. Logan didn't just disagree. He suggested Bradley's confrontational persona was theater, not honest bravado. That moment shifted the narrative. Years of credibility earned through coaching and hard work began to fray pretty quickly as the street fight shtick took more screen time. Fans who tuned in for programs and progress progress instead scrolled feeds filled with clipped shocks rather than full workouts and thoughtful breakdowns. This matters because reputation and reach are fragile. You can build trust slowly through consistent work, but attention-seeking moves can hollow that trust fast. A community centered on learning started to feel like a circus, and that change alters who you attract. Creators drift this way for reasons. Algorithms reward engagement spikes, sponsors chase virality, and ego craves the rush of trending clips. But being compelling and being credible are different. Bradley grew more clickable, sure, yet the trade-off was clear. Short-term spectacle won eyeballs while undermining the deeper trust he had.
Again?
The street fight talk began as a loud, theoretical bit bravado on a couch that teetered between bold and tasteless, but words hardened into actions. Bradley Martyn's need to prove himself spilled off the mic and into real life, leaving images that made online mockery feel uncomfortably literal. The first big crack came in June 2024 during a FaZe Clan livestream at Zoo Culture. It was a casual scene, influencers, cameras, the gym's usual clatter until stable Ronaldo grabbed Bradley's hat as a prank. Bradley didn't laugh it off. He slapped Ronaldo so hard the sound cut through the stream. The room went still. What followed wasn't comic relief, but awkward silence and frantic damage control as the clip spread. Some framed the slap as boundary setting. Many saw it as a disproportionate escalation. Instead of proving toughness, the moment made Bradley look quick to violence. A later sparring session with Sneeko deepened that impression. What was supposed to be a controlled exchange turned grim. Bradley's size and power produced shots that visibly stunned Sneeko. A bleeding tooth in Sneeko's hand became a raw symbol of real harm. Bradley's later dismissal that he wasn't even going hard read as tone-deaf, prioritizing image over injury.
I did not go hard on you.
What?
Bro, I did not
That's
go hard.
cap.
I did not go hard.
You were trying to. I saw in your face.
These incidents might have been isolated scandals, but together they formed a pattern. Performative aggression bleeding into actual harm. Viewers who once came for coaching saw flashes of spectacle and danger. The persona that once amplified training wisdom increasingly looked like someone chasing clicks through provocation.
Bradley Martyn just slapped someone for trying to snatch his again?
Is Bradley running out of content?
And that shift narrowed who stuck around and what they expected when they tuned in. A developer promoting a meme cryptocurrency called Bagwork visited Zoo Culture for a live stream. The developer grabbed Bradley's hat, a deliberate echo of the Ronaldo moment, and Bradley slapped him. The clip spread, but now the story had a market impact. Bagwork's price exploded, surging by more than 2,000% in minutes. The slap had been turned into a trading signal. The moment of aggression became the oxygen for a pump-and-dump style frenzy. What that episode made plain was how easily real actions can be absorbed and repurposed by the attention economy. Bradley's aggression, which he presumably intended to read as authentic toughness, had been converted into a commodity. The slap was no longer just a display of temper. It was a leverage point for someone else's financial play. He was a live-action meme that created liquidity. The irony is sharp. The persona built to project fear was instead monetized by people who profited from the spectacle, not from genuine respect. Across these incidents, the social media response moved through predictable stages. Clips were clipped, remixed, and reframed into punchlines. Sponsors and peers watched how the narrative shifted. Where once the brand rested on believable expertise, it now teetered toward chaos and predictability. The consequences aren't simply about reputation management. They shape the audience that a creator attracts. Instead of lifters seeking honest guidance, feeds filled with viewers waiting for the next headline clip, the next moment someone could splice into a trending montage or trade signal. If confrontations were symptoms, public opinion and the numbers are the diagnosis. Bradley's brand slipped from fitness authority to internet meme. His channel still has millions of subscribers and hundreds of millions of views, but growth has flatlined. The metrics and the mockery tell the same story. The engine that once drove his channel forward has sputtered out. Recent analytics reveal a channel that is essentially standing still. For a creator of his size, growth is a vital sign. Instead, over a recent 19-month period stretching from February 2024 to September 2025, his subscriber count increased by a total of only 10,000 people back in May 2024. Since then, growth has stalled, even slipping into losses. On YouTube, stagnation is failure. The numbers are clear. People aren't subscribing for fitness advice anymore. They're watching for spectacle, not substance. Numbers aside, the real fallout has been to Bradley's reputation. The online world has fully absorbed his persona and turned it into a punchline. His famous argument that he is 260-pound weight makes him a dominant force force in any street fight has become a running joke, a symbol of his apparent insecurity. One Reddit user even noted, "A true martial artist in a street fight will calculate very quickly the size disadvantage he has and will identify the vulnerability points of the attacker if under duress and could not run away." Fans and critics alike point out that he seems to bring his weight into every conversation like a magic shield. The phrase, "I'm 260 pounds, bro," is now used mockingly to describe anyone who overestimates their abilities based on a single, superficial advantage.
You often claim that you could beat UFC fighters because you weigh 260 pounds. If I gained 100 pounds, do you think I'd become that stupid too?
Online comments frequently describe him as having a fragile ego, suggesting that his constant need to prove his toughness reveals a deep-seated insecurity. One guy on Quora even called him a gym rat. He's seen as a guy who is so desperate for validation that he tries to intimidate people who are clearly more skilled than him, all while safely surrounded by cameras. But the ultimate sign that he had become a meme and not a feared figure came with the bagwork incident. When the developers of a meme cryptocurrency came to his gym and orchestrated a hat-snatching stunt, they weren't afraid of Bradley. They were using him. They knew exactly how he would react, because his aggressive response had become a predictable script. The moment he slapped the developer, the value of their token pumped over 2,000%, earning them tens of thousands of dollars. This incident was the final, absurd proof of his diminished status. His aggression was no longer intimidating. It was a financial instrument. The live streamers even thanked him for the slap. He was no longer the tough gym owner. He was a catalyst for a crypto pump. The community wasn't criticizing him from a distance anymore. They were walking into his gym and actively profiting from his predictable persona. The backlash had moved beyond comments and into real-world exploitation, solidifying his role not as a king of fitness, but as a clown prince of internet culture. So, where does this leave us? The story of Bradley Martyn is a modern-day parable of internet fame. It's a journey that began in the authentic grind of the weight room and detoured into the chaotic, often absurd world of online drama. We started with a dedicated bodybuilder who used his hard-earned knowledge to inspire others. We end with a man whose most famous catchphrase is a weight declaration and whose signature move is a slap. His arc is clear. The respected fitness expert, the founder of zoo culture, slowly faded away. In his place emerged a character constantly asking professional fighters about street fights, a person who seemed to believe that being 260 pounds was a substitute for skill and respect. This need to prove himself spilled over into real life, leading to a pattern of aggressive incidents, slapping stable Ronaldo, sparring too hard with Snecko that revealed a deep insecurity. The numbers on his YouTube channel tell the final part of the story. The growth stopped. The audience that once came for fitness advice now mostly watches for the spectacle. But here is the complicated part. Bradley Martyn is still here. His gym, Zoo Culture, remains open. His podcast continues to release episodes. He is still a businessman, still a content creator. This forces us to ask a difficult question about what success and failure even mean in the age of social media. Is Bradley Martyn a cautionary tale? Is he a warning about what happens when an influencer trades substance for controversy, when they let their ego override their authenticity? The evidence certainly suggests yes. He sacrificed the respect of the fitness community to become a meme. He became a figure of mockery, a guy whose aggression is now so predictable that crypto scammers could use it to make a quick profit. The bagwork incident is the ultimate symbol of this. He wasn't feared, he was used. His power was an illusion that others exploited for cash. That seems like a pretty clear failure. Or has Bradley Martyn strangely successfully evolved? Has he mastered the darkest secret of online entertainment, that in today's attention economy, any engagement is good engagement? He may not be gaining new subscribers, but people are still talking about him. The videos of his altercations get millions of views. Love him or hate him, you click. In that sense, he is still relevant, just not in the way he originally intended. He is no longer a fitness icon. He is a reality show character, a source of drama and entertainment. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Bradley Martyn's legacy is a paradox. He is both a cautionary tale and a case study in modern relevance. He is a man who built a legitimate empire on hard work, only to discover that chaos often gets more clicks. The real question isn't whether he won or lost. The real question is whether the price he paid for relevance, his reputation, was worth it. And that is a question that every person watching and every creator making content has to answer for themselves.